This is a song to celebrate a bountiful harvest. All over Kenya, communities dance to good fortunes, celebrating life, luck, and opportunities. Such scenes are not limited to food, but also to other fortunes tapped and untapped. For many years now, fortunes in the agricultural sector, including livestock, forestry and fishing, have been dwindling and has contributed to serious concerns to the food security nationally. That notwithstanding, the agricultural sector is still the backbone of our economy, contributing at least 24% to the country's gross domestic product (GDP) and employs a whopping 75% of working Kenyans compared with 80% in the 1980s. A leading Kenyan non-governmental organization, Act Change Transform, is working with numerous non-state actors from various parts of the country by way of giving grants and building their capacities so as to implement long-lasting and sustainable food production solutions that will bridge the gaps in food deficiencies. Act Changieni Rasilimali program, commonly referred to as CRM, has been running now for 4 years and is funded by the governments of Sweden and the Department of International Development of the UK Aid. All over Kenya, efforts to reverse food insecurity by fixing food deficit trends are evident from the government, the development partners and other stakeholders who have created working rapport with local communities.
We found it important to work on climate change and food security in western part of Kenya. We started training faith leaders, 25 of them, and they have gone out. Currently, they have trained 10,000 people. So basically, what we are saying about farming in God's way is we are using the organic matter to farm. We want to use mulching on the farm so that we are conserving the water, the little water that is in the farm. This mulch is going also to be manure on this farm. So we are looking at improved harvest.
Kenya is among the countries in the world ranked as food deficit countries, meaning that we are hardly able to produce food that is enough for a fast-growing population that has more than tripled in the last 3 decades and still increases at an alarming rate. But matters of population aside, food insecurity is also caused by persistent perennial drought cycle, largely caused by climate change, and that is something to worry about, especially in areas classified as mid potential in lower eastern areas of the Rift Valley and coastal regions.
Our farmers were year in, year out having problems with the planting of maize. It was failing. So we came in to intervene. To tell them that these are the causes of what you're having and we needed to try other things.
Kulikuwa tu na matatizo. Hakuna kitu ilikuwa inasaidia sipokuwa uuze kitu ukanunue unga. Lakini wakatuambia tupande mioko inaweza kusaidia. Sasa mioko ni kitu ambaye ya kuzuia njaa. Mioko haisikii ukame. Mioko ikiisha kumea imemea na inaendelea na kukua.
In the food basket highland areas of Kenya, occupying 17% of arable land, poor routine farming methods are largely to blame for low food production and hence low yield.
Edretra na Grandefu walituita training. Tukaenda tukafundisha mambo mengi sana, the skills of farming, good management, how to planting, bananas, organic farming. Tukapata hii matawi ya madisi na ya miwa, tukaweka hii mbolea ya maniwa. Sasa tukaanza hiyo kazi. Saa hii nimesomesha watoto kwa sababu kila mwezi tunauza mandisi. Kama tukiuza mandisi 10 tunafata 7,000. Hizo pesa nimesomesha watoto.
The results from this National Natural Resource Program are very promising and encouraging.
Because of the farmers tours and exchange visits, I changed my mind to go to other crops other than beans and maize. And that is why I came up with planting, but purpose. And I planted 500. So let's say in October or March next year, I'll be harvesting 400 trees. And these 200 trees I'm harvesting, I'm getting, let's say, 4,000 per week.
The agriculture thematic sector of the CRM facility tries to embrace three aspects, which includes improving livelihoods, increasing resilience of the communities, and then we also have an aspect of increasing citizen participation. The communities that we've worked with them on issues of policy. Most of our farmers have been able to advocate for increased budgeting on agriculture. We have seen areas like Tharaka-Nithi reach a 13% budgeting on agriculture, which surpasses the Maputo declaration of having a 10% commitment on agriculture by the different countries. So for us, this is a plus, because increased budgets on agriculture means better livelihoods for the farmers.
Changieni Rasilimali program has made huge strides in supporting smallholder farmers to increase productivity and profitability through not only adoption of appropriate and productive agricultural technologies for crop production and dairy farming, but also through value-added agricultural practices like the use of improved seed varieties, adequate fertilizer use, organic farming and soil and water management, better processing and storage for reduction of post-harvest losses, linkages to markets, and access to formal credit and risk management options. All over, farmers are raising their voices in one accord. They are voices of gratitude.
Ukulima huu umebadilisha maisha yangu pamoja na ya familia. Niko na mboga ya kutosha na ni aina nyingi za mboga ambazo nimepanda. Kulingana na mabadiliko ya hali ya anga, ni vizuri tuweze kuwa na vyakula tofauti tofauti kama mboga ambazo zinastahimili jua na pia ndizi.
In a small portion of land like an acre, you are able to plant banana, you are able to plant sweet potato, you are able to plant rice, you are able to plant vegetable, so that all these things can contribute to food security and at the same time an household income.
More than 3/4 of Kenya's population lives in rural areas and relies basically on agriculture for almost all their household income. These are the smallholder farmers, and it is they that produce the majority of Kenya's agricultural output, meant to feed the entire nation, whose bigger surface area, totaling to 80%, is arid and semi-arid, and where acute poverty and food insecurity thrive and recurrent droughts are common. But even here, the CRM program has had the most visible impact.
The
population of the people was very low. People had moved to other areas looking for food. People were staying in places like Katilo, Morulem, in Turkana South. And yet these are people who moved away from here because the water, they were not able actually to channel water from the river to their farms. Now, after we brought in this project, the earth canals were dug and the water reached the people's farms. A distance of about 3 kilometers right from the river. People have now come back. The population has risen tremendously. People who are affected by cattle raids in places like Lobei and Kotaruk, all are now migrating here, abandoning even the pastoralism. And they are abandoning cattle because cattle are exposing them to danger. And they are all now coming here and wanting to be given a piece of land so that they can engage in agriculture.
At the Indian Ocean at the coast, an NGO going by the name Community Action for Nature Conservation, CANCO, has formed a network of stakeholders in the fishing industry under a name Tuna Fisheries Alliance of Kenya, TUFAC. Through Changieni Rasilimali funds, they have sensitized the local communities to think big in fisheries resource.
Lone voices are weak and there's strength in numbers. So we've brought together different stakeholders ranging from fishermen to civil society organizations to talk about tuna issues. And what we are trying to do is to engage the government so that we can explore this resource and get benefits from the same, because tuna is an expensive fish as compared to the other types of fish that are caught in the coastal region.
Kulingana na hii shirika la Tuna Fisheries, tumepata faida ya elimu kwa sababu wametufundisha jinsi ya kuhandle samaki, wametupatia ufahamu vile tutadumisha hii biashara ya tuna, sababu za kitambo tulikuwa hatujui maana ya tuna, na sana sana wavuvi walikuwa hawawezi kuvua tuna kwa kuwa hatukujua tutawaweka wapi, tutafanya nini. Lakini kulingana na ile elimu tumepewa, mambo ya capacity building, tunaanza kugundua ya kwamba ule si kazi ya maskini, ni kazi ya mtu ambaye anafanya kazi kama mwingine anavyofanya kazi katika ofisi.
All over Kenya, there exists best practices in agriculture production, from new ways of farming using appropriate technologies to involving farmers in policy developments at various governance levels and taking leadership in adopting agribusiness ideas and adding value to their agricultural products for better incomes. This, among other socio-economic avenues, will go a long way in enhancing livelihoods and bridging food deficits in Kenya. This far, the dawn of a new day has beckoned in Changieni Rasilimali.